I'm gonna follow you with the cable, and I'll come back to you. Okay? That's probably easier. It is? Okay. Cool. I'll look around. So after the entrance? Yeah, soon after? Well, okay. I'm right over there still. Stick with me.
That's right. That's right.
Good evening, I'm Leonardo Puglisi. You're watching 6 News Live on YouTube right now, also available at 6newsau.com. We are getting ready to mark 20 years since the 9/11 terrorist attacks in the United States that happened in New York, Washington, and Pennsylvania. The first major event will be happening at 8:46 local time. That's 10:46 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is the exact moment the first plane hit the North Tower. That was American Airlines flight. That was American Airlines flight there. So obviously a lot to come at flight 11 rather. So that they crashed between floors 93 and 99. All 92 people on board were killed. Many people killed who were there, and of course everyone above that point was also tragically killed. There were obviously 3 other planes hijacked that day, 2 of which ended up crashing at their destinations, while Flight 93, which was reportedly heading to either the White House or the Capitol building, crashed in Pennsylvania, in part thanks to the work of heroic passengers. We will bring you all the ceremonies from all 3 different places, and we will keep you updated with the latest information. You can also follow along by tweeting hashtag 6newsau on social media or using it in the comment section and the live chat. So, you can see there we've got the US President Joe Biden. Obviously, he will be there along with former US President Barack Obama and a lot of other important people. We don't believe he'll actually be speaking at this particular event. There'll be one overnight, which we'll bring you coverage of tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But he is there right now. So we can expect a lot of major guests there. We also have another former president, Bill Clinton, is there. I think you can see Jill Biden, Joe Biden's wife, there as well as I'm monitoring the live stream. I'm monitoring along this year. So if you see something you want looked at, do let us know in the comment section. Again, hashtag 6newsau. So again, I'm Leonardo Puglisi. We are about 4 minutes away from 10:46 p.m. Eastern. Again, that is 8:46 local time, the exact moment Flight 11 hit. So stand by for that. We will keep you updated. And again, follow us on social media while you're waiting: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Lead. Just search 6 News AU to find us. And also another reminder about what's coming up later tonight, the moment of the South Tower collapse just before 10 p.m. local 10 p.m. local time. The Pentagon being hit, which is at 9:04, and we will of course keep you updated with the latest. Sorry, that's 9:37 rather. The Pentagon was hit. And what we're also looking at tonight is what's going on in the rest of the country, because obviously there are high alert. The people authorities are on high alert, especially given the recent developments in Afghanistan. We know there are fears that Al Qaeda, the group responsible for 9/11, of course, could be making a comeback, or has already made a comeback. We know that the Taliban was described as a breeding ground. Afghanistan under Taliban rule was a breeding ground of sorts, described by many when they were controlling it in the 1990s and up until 2001. But yeah, And what we are also looking at is the fears regarding a potential attack or just anything. Authorities are on high alert. We know that Afghanistan under Taliban rule was considered almost a breeding ground in the 1990s, and up until 2001, the 9/11 attacks were planned when it was under Taliban rule. So we'll be monitoring that. Also coming up at this minute, it is the anniversary of when Flight 93 actually took off. Now they ended up crashing in Pennsylvania just past midnight Australian Eastern Standard Time, thanks to the efforts of heroic passengers. It was reportedly heading for the country's capital, either Washington, D.C. or the Capitol building. Again, about 2 minutes away as we get ready to mark the exact moment the North Tower was hit, starting this terrorist attack. A bit of information, a bit of background for you. There is only 2 pieces of footage that show what happened. There was one from a documentary crew that was filming a fire station that lost many people on that day. Another, I believe, by an immigrant who spoke very little English, who took it while in traffic and also took footage of the second one. There's a third piece of footage, however, but you just hear it. It's not on the ground. It was, I believe, a Fox 5 cameraman. Stand by for this memorial service, and again, keep us updated in the live chat with anything you're seeing going on. Share your thoughts on this day using hashtag 6newsau or email us contact at 6newsau.com. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Get ready now. I'll stop talking as we observe a minute of silence for, again, the exact moment Flight 11 hit the North Tower between floors 93 and 99, killing all 92 people on board that plane and, of course, many others in the building. Let's go to that now.
The moment of silence we just shared marks the very moment 20 years ago that American Airlines Flight 11 flew into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. My name is Mike Lowe, and my daughter Sarah Elizabeth Lowe was a flight attendant on that plane. These 20 years have felt like both a long time and a short time, and as we recite the names of those we lost, my memory goes back to that terrible day when it felt like an evil specter had descended on our world. But it was also a time when many people acted above and beyond the ordinary. Beginning with the actions of the flight crews, like Sarah, and the passengers on the 4 flights, the individuals in the towers, the professionals of the fire and police, and later the volunteers who helped work on the pile sensitive to recovering our loved ones' remains. They helped pull us through the darkest days of our lives. In the last 20 years, my family and I have at times known unbearable sorrow and disbelief about the lives that would never be. Years we have filled with speaking out on my daughter's behalf and calling on many more precautions, and also for the history to be remembered not as numbers and a date, but the faces of ordinary people, people who looked a lot like Sarah. At the first memorial ceremony, my wife Bobby and I stood here with thousands of family members, right in the midst of a gray and black world of destroyed buildings. Today, this is a quiet place of memory. The gleaming 9/11 Museum holds a sacred repository for our loved ones' remains, and the still brightening stories of all the sons and daughters, the siblings, husbands and wives, grandparents, and friends. As we carry these 20 years forward, I find sustenance in a continuing appreciation for all of those who rose to be more than ordinary people, and a father's pride in his daughter's selfless acts in the last moments of her life, acting with heroic calm to help those in the air and those on the ground, a legacy from Sarah that burns like an eternal flame.
Gordon M. Ameth, Jr.
Edelmiro Abad.
Marie Rose Abad.
Andrew Anthony Abate.
Vincent Paul Abate.
Lawrence Christopher Abel.
Alana Abraham.
William F. Abrahamson.
Richard Anthony Aceto.
Heinrich Bernard Ackerman.
Paul Aquaviva.
Christian Adams.
Donald Leroy Adams.
Patrick Adams.
Shannon Lewis Adams.
Stephen George Adams.
Ignatius Udo Adanga.
Christy A. Adamo.
Terrence Edward Adderley, Jr.
Sophia B. Otto.
Lee Adler.
Daniel Thomas Aflito.
Emmanuel Akwazi Afwakwa.
Alok Agarwal.
Mukul Kumar Agarwala.
Joseph Agnello.
David Scott Agnes.
João Alberto da Fonseca Aguiar, Jr.
Brian G. Ahern.
Jeremiah Joseph Ahern.
Joanne Marie Aladiotis.
Sabir Ahmed.
Terrence Andre Aiken.
Godwin O. Ajala.
Trudy M. Alagero.
Andrew Alameno.
Margaret Ann Alario.
Gary M. Albero.
John Leslie Albert.
Peter Craig Alderman.
And my brother, Vladimir Savinkin. Vladik, we all love and miss you so much. Thank you for answering our prayers and showing us that you're always with us. I look at your nephew's face, and I see you in his face sometimes, and I cherish those moments. 20 years have gone by, and so much has changed in our lives, but the memory of you and keeping you close to us and cherishing the gift of your life never changes and never will. Мы тебя очень любим, Владик, и мы тебя помним. Передай папе привет.
And my father, Edward Joseph Papa. Dad, we miss you every day. Our greatest gifts are your beautiful grandchildren. They embody your kind spirit, warm heart, loving nature, and zest for life. They are a daily reminder that your legacy lives on. We love you, Dad. Jacqueline Delaney Alderidge Frederick.
David D. Alger.
Ernest Alakakos.
Edward L. Allegretto.
Eric Allen.
Joseph Ryan Allen.
Richard Dennis Allen.
Richard L. Allen.
Christopher E. Allingham.
Anna S. W. Allison.
Janet Marie Alonso.
Anthony Alvarado.
Antonio Javier Alvarez.
Victoria Alvarez Brito.
Telmo E. Alvier.
Caesar Amaranto Alviar.
Tariq Amanula.
Angelo Amaranto.
James M. Amato.
Joseph Amatuccio.
Paul W. Ambrose.
Christopher Charles Amoroso.
Craig Scott Amundsen.
Kazuhiro Anai.
Callisto Anaya Jr.
Joseph P. Anshundia.
Kermit Charles Anderson.
Yvette Constance Anderson.
John Jack Andriakio.
Michael Rourke Andrews.
Jean Ann Andruki.
C. Nia Ang.
Joseph Angelini Sr.
Joseph John Angelini Jr.
David Lawrence Angel.
Mary Lynn Edwards Angel.
Laura Angeletta.
Doreen J. Angersani.
Lorraine Antigua.
Sima David Aoima.
Ronald Philip Caloper. And my husband, Joseph Rena Jr.
And my uncle, James Francis Quinn.
Joe, we love and miss you more than you could ever imagine. Our son is the spitting image of you. He lights up my world every day. I see you in everything that he does, and I know that you see us because I feel you. Continue to watch over us and your family. 20 years feels like an eternity, but yet it still feels like yesterday. Until we meet again, my love, rest in peace.
Peter Paul Apollo.
Faustino Apostle Jr.
Frank Thomas Aquilino.
Patrick Michael Alyanras.
David Gregory Arche.
Michael George Archinsky.
Louis Arena.
Barbara Jean Aristoghi.
Adam P. Arias.
Michael Armstrong.
Jack Charles Aaron.
Joshua Ton Aaron.
Richard Avery Aronow.
Myra Joy Arison.
Japhet Jesse Aria.
Carl Francis Azaro.
Michael A. Asiak.
Mike Thomas J. Ashton.
Janice Marie Ashley.
Greg A. Atlas.
Manuel O. Asinimbe.
James Otterfield.
Gerald Thomas Atwood.
Ezra Avales.
Louis F. Aversano Jr.
Arlene T. Bacatadas.
Sandy Ayala.
John Bagaliaga.
Eustace Bacchus. Jane Ellen Basler.
Robert J. Bellwater.
Andrew J. Bailey.
Britt T. Bailey.
Garnet Ace Bailey.
Tatiana Balalinsky.
Michael S. Baksh.
Sharon M. Balcom.
Michael Andrew Bain.
Catherine Bantis.
and my uncle, firefighter Christopher Michael Mazzillo. I know you're with us every day watching over us, and even though I never met you in person, I still miss you a lot. Mom always tells me all the crazy fun things you did, and I'm sure if you were here, I'd probably be doing them with you. Thank you for being the best guardian angel and for sending us Killian. We know he can see you. Mom also says I have your lovable charm and fearlessness. Not only do I have your charm, but I'm honored to have your name as my middle name. You, Pop-Up, and Dad have inspired me to follow in your footsteps and become a firefighter too. We hope you will continue to watch over us, and keep us healthy and safe. We love you so much, Uncle Chris.
And my sister, Cecilia Elizabeth Richard Lawson. Dear Cece, it's been 20 years since you left us. I remember this day as if it was yesterday. You are greatly missed by our mother, your sisters, your nieces, your nephews. It was such a sad day on September 11th. I remember you working at the Pentagon, and when they told us that the airplane had attacked the Pentagon, I couldn't believe it. From the building of where I worked at EPA, I could see the smoke. And I couldn't believe that you're gone. I just want to say I love you, and we miss you. Thank you so much.
Gerard Baptiste.
Walter Baran.
Gerard A. Barbera.
Paul Vincent Barbero.
James William Barbella.
Victor Daniel Barbosa.
Christine Jana Barbuto.
Colleen Ann Barkow.
David Michael Barkway.
Matthew Barnes.
Melissa Rose Barnes.
Sheila Patricia Barnes.
Evan J. Barron.
Renee Barrett Arjun.
Arthur Thaddeus Barry.
Diane G. Barry.
Maurice Vincent Barry.
Scott D. Bart.
Carlton W. Bartels.
Guy Bartzy.
Ina B. Basina.
Alicia Christine Burton Basmajan.
Kenneth William Besnicki.
Stephen Joseph Bates.
Paul James Battaglia.
W. David Bauer.
Ivan Luis Carpio Bautista.
Marlon Capito Bautista.
Mark Lawrence Bavis.
Jasper Baxter.
Lorraine G. Bay.
Michelle Beal.
Todd M. Beamer.
Paul Frederick Bettini.
Jane S. Beatty.
Alan Anthony Bevan.
Lawrence Ira Beck.
Manette Marie Beckles.
Carl John Bedigian.
Michael Ernest Beekman.
And my uncle Thomas F. Swift. We love you and we miss you. You live on in our hearts and the hearts and minds of your family, and we think about you every day, and I can't wait to meet you again.
And my brother T.J. Hargrave, who we continue to miss and love every day. The world is a lesser place without him.
Maria A. Bear.
Max J. Bilke.
Yelena Belilovsky.
Nina Patrice Bell.
Debbie Bellows.
Stephen Elliott Belson.
Paul M. Benedetti.
Denise Lenore Benedetto.
Brian Craig Bennett.
Eric L. Bennett.
Oliver Bennett.
Margaret L. Benson.
Dominic J. Berardi.
James Patrick Berger.
Stephen Howard Berger.
John P. Bergen.
Alvin Bergson.
Daniel David Bergstein.
Graham Andrew Berkeley.
Michael J. Berkeley.
Donna M. Bernards.
David W. Bernard.
May God bless our fallen brothers and sisters, their families, their friends, and their loved ones. This is our
And that was some of the scenes we're seeing in New York City, obviously marking both the moment the North Tower and the South Tower were hit. Right now, we're taking you to the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., where they had a crash too. We've got some comments in the live chat. Yes, we will be taking the service from Pennsylvania. There is one. We will be taking it when it happens. Right now, you're seeing the service, and we will continue to monitor that. Obviously, the Pentagon was hit, killing people both inside and, of course, on the plane. That happened at 9:37 local time, so there'll be a minute of silence then. That was Flight 93. So again, all 64 people on board were killed. We'll let you listen in now to the service at the Pentagon.
Petty Officer, 3rd Class, Melissa Rose Barnes, United States Navy. Master Sergeant Max J. Belkey, United States Army, retired. Dr. Yenene Betrue. Petty Officer, 2nd Class, Chris Romero Bishundat, United States Navy. Kerry R. Blackburn. Colonel Canfield D. Boone, United States Army. Mary Jane Booth. Donna M. Bowen. Petty Officer, 3rd Class, Christopher L. Barefoot, United States Navy. Captain Charles F. Burlingame III, United States Navy Reserve, retired. Petty Officer, 3rd Class, Daniel M. Caballero, United States Navy. Sergeant 1st Class, Jose O. Calderon Olmedo, United States Army. Suzanne M. Callie. Angeline C. Carter. Sharon A. Carver. William E. Caswell. Sergeant 1st Class, John J. Chawda, United States Army, retired. Rosa Maria Chapa. David M. Charlebeau.
Sarah M. Clark. Julian T. Cooper. Asia S. Cottom. Lieutenant Commander Eric A. Cranford, United States Navy. Ida M. Davis. James D. Debonair. Captain Gerald F. DeConto, United States Navy. Rodney Dickens. Lieutenant Colonel Jerry D. Dickerson, United States Army. Eddie A. Dillard. Petty Officer, First Class, Johnny Doctor, Jr., United States Navy. Captain Robert E. Dolan, Jr., United States Navy. Commander William H. Donovan, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Charles A. Draws III, United States Navy, retired. Commander Patrick Dunn, United States Navy. Petty Officer, First Class, Edward T. Earhart, United States Navy. Barbara G. Edwards. Lieutenant Commander Robert R. Elseth, United States Navy Reserve. Charles S. Falkenberg. And his wife, Leslie A. Whittington. And their 2 children, Dana Falkenberg and Zoe Falkenberg. Petty Officer, Third Class, Jamie L. Fallon, United States Navy. J. Joseph Ferguson. Amelia V. Fields. Gerald P. Fisher. Darlene E. Flagg. And her husband, Rear Admiral Wilson F. Flagg, United States Navy Reserve, retired. Petty Officer, Second Class, Matthew M. Flacco, United States Navy. Sandra N. Foster. First Lieutenant Richard P. Gabriel, United States Marine Corps, retired. Captain Lawrence D. Getzfred, United States Navy. Cortez Gee. Brenda C. Gibson. Colonel Ronald F. Galinsky, United States Army, retired. Ian J. Gray. Diane Hale McKenzie. Stanley R. Hall. Carolyn B. Hallman. Michelle M. Heidenberger. Shelia M. S. Hine. Petty Officer, First Class, Ronald J. Hemingway, United States Navy. Major Wallace Cole Hogan, Jr., United States Army. Staff Sergeant Jimmy I. Hawley, United States Army, retired. Angela M. Houts. Brady K. Howell. Peggy M. Hurt. Lieutenant Colonel Stephen N. Highland, Jr., United States Army. Lieutenant Colonel Robert J. Himmel, United States Air Force, retired. Sergeant Major Lacey B. Ivory, United States Army. Brian C. Jack. Stephen D. Jacoby. Lieutenant Colonel Dennis M. Johnson, United States Army. Judith L. Jones. Ann C. Judge. Brenda Kegler. Chandler R. Keller. Yvonne E. Kennedy. Norma Cruz Kahn. Karen Ann Kincaid. Lieutenant Michael S. Lamanna, United States Navy. David W. Lachek. Dong Chol Lee. Jennifer Lewis. And her husband, Kenneth E. Lewis. Samantha L. Lightbourne Allen. Major Stephen V. Long, United States Army. James T. Lynch, Jr. Terrence M. Lynch.
Petty Officer, Second Class, Mayhem Lyons, the 4th, United States Navy. Shelley A. Marshall. Teresa M. Martin. Ida L. Masson-Aker. Lieutenant Colonel Dean E. Matson, United States Army. Lieutenant General Timothy J. Mudd, United States Army. Robert J. Maxwell. Renee A. May. Molly L. McKenzie. Dora Marie Menchaca. Patricia E. Mickley. Major Ronald D. Milam, United States Army. Gerard P. Morin, Jr. Odessa V. Morris. Petty Officer First Class Brian A. Moss, United States Navy. Pennington H. Moy. Lieutenant Commander Patrick J. Murphy, United States Navy Reserve. Christopher C. Newton. Kang Nok Wen. Petty Officer 2nd Class Michael A. Noth, United States Navy. Barbara K. Olson. Ruben S. Ornado. Diana B. Pedro. Lieutenant Jonas M. Panic, United States Navy Reserve. Major Clifford L. Patterson, Jr., United States Army. Robert Penninger. Robert R. Plodger III. And his wife, Zandra F. Plodger. Lieutenant Darren H. Pontel, United States Navy Reserve. Scott Powell. Captain Jack D. Punches, United States Navy retired. Petty Officer 1st Class Joseph J. Piesier, Jr., United States Navy. Lisa J. Raines. Deborah A. Ramser. Rhonda Sue Rasmussen. Petty Officer 1st Class Marcia D. Ratchford, United States Navy. Martha M. Reski. Todd H. Rubin. Cecilia E. Lawson Richard. Edward V. Rowenhorst. Judy Rowlett. Sergeant Major Robert E. Russell, United States Army retired. Chief Warrant Officer William R. Ruth, United States Army Reserve. Charles E. Sabin, Sr. Marjorie C. Salamoni. John P. Sammartino. Colonel David M. Scales, United States Army.
Gallo.
Charles
Mandy Chang.
Rosa Maria Chapa.
Mark Lawrence Charette.
David M. Chalibois.
And we're just now returning to New York City, where the memorial service there continues. You are watching the service at the Pentagon. Now, we should just point out at 9:28 local time, that's in around 5 minutes, that was the moment Flight 93 was hijacked above northern Ohio. There were 4 hijackers on board. Now, that was ended up crashing in Pennsylvania. We will take you there live shortly. At 9:37 local time, that's 11:37 Australian Eastern Standard Time. That was when Flight 77 crashed into the western side of the Pentagon, killing all 64 people on board. We expect a minute of silence at that moment. Stay tuned. We will bring you live to the Pentagon for that shortly. But right now, we are going to stay on the New York City ceremony. So stay tuned for more updates from right across the United States.
Kayung Hee Casey Cho.
Abdul K. Chowdhury.
Mohammed Salahuddin Chowdhury.
Kirsten Lael Christoph.
Pamela Chu.
Stephen Paul Chutnick.
Wei Ching Chung.
Christopher Ciaffredini.
Alex F. Saccone.
Francis Ann Salenti.
Elaine Silo.
Edna Cintron.
Nestor Andre Cintron III.
Robert D. Siri Sr.
Juan Pablo Cisneros.
Benjamin Keith Clark.
Eugene Clark.
And my husband, Dennis Michael Edwards. As I stand here today, the only thing I can say for certain is that despite the tremendous pain and heartache of losing you, time did not stand still for 1 second over the past 20 years. The best part of those 20 years was having our daughter, Alexa, by my side. Our then 2-year-old baby is now a grown woman and graduate of UNC Chapel Hill. Alexa is your legacy here on earth. She embodies all the good in you. Her green eyes, dimpled chin, kind heart, love of music, passion for people, willingness to help others, and enthusiastic love for life remind me of you each and every day. She even tilts her head and scratches the head the way you do, and she never even saw you do it. You missed every single milestone in her life over the past 2 decades, but we continue to move forward with only love in our hearts. Our family and friends continue to keep your memory alive, and with endless stories and reemergence of old pictures. You always carried the good torch, shining brightly wherever you went, and Alexa will carry it for you too. Thank you for the greatest gift I've ever received from anyone. For as long as we live, people will know your name and honor your memory. We love you, Den, and we love you, Alexa Marie.
And my uncle, firefighter Peter Alexander Bielfeld. We love you and we miss you, Uncle Peter. Thank you for being my godfather, and thank you for protecting this country.
Gregory Allen Clark.
Manny Leroy Clark.
Sarah M. Clark.
Thomas R. Clark.
Christopher Robert Clark.
Donna Marie Clark.
Michael J. Clark.
Saria Rachel Emma Clark.
Kevin Francis Cleary.
James D. Clear.
Jeffrey W. Cloud.
Susan Marie Klein.
Stephen Coakley.
Jeffrey Allen Cole.
Patricia A. Cody.
Daniel Michael Coffey.
Jason Matthew Coffey.
Florence G. Cohen.
Kevin S. Cohen.
Anthony Joseph Coladonato.
Mark Joseph Caleo.
Stephen J. Caleo.
Christopher Michael Colasanti.
Kevin Nathaniel Colbert.
Michelle P. Colbert.
Keith E. Coleman.
Scott Thomas Coleman.
Robert D. Colon.
Liam Joseph Calhoun.
Robert D. Jean Marie Collin.
Robert J. Call.
And again, thank you very much for joining us. I'm Leonardo Puglisi in the 6 Newsroom as we continue our special coverage as America and the world marks 20 years since the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Now, it is just approaching 9:28 p.m. AM American Eastern Standard Time. That is 11:28 for those of you on Australia's East Coast. The exact moment Flight 93 was hijacked above Northern Ohio. There were 4 hijackers on board, but the plane was taken down by heroic passengers before it hit its target, which was expected to be either the White House or the Capitol building. Now that, of course, it went down in a field in Somerset County, Pennsylvania, just past midnight Australian Eastern Standard Time. That's past 10 a.m. for those of you on America's East Coast. We will take you to the ceremony there live, and we will, of course, continue our coverage here in New York, as you're seeing on your screen. And we will also be going back to the Pentagon at 9:37 U.S. East Coast time, where 64 people were killed. Actually, we're going to go Now we're going to go to the Pentagon now as we await the exact moment in the anniversary of Flight 77's crash. So we'll go there now. Yeah, and you are watching the scenes at the Pentagon right now. We seem to be having a few issues with the stream. We're getting a lack of sound coming through this the feed we're using. So we're probably going to go back to New York City, where, of course, the memorial service is continuing, and it's continuing for quite a long time now. So let's listen to that now. We can hopefully get back to the Pentagon ceremony by 9:37 US East Coast time, which is the moment Flight 77 crashed there. Let's listen into New York.
Carlos Cortez Rodriguez.
Kevin Michael Cosgrove.
Dolores Marie Costa.
Digna Alexandra Costanza.
Charles Gregory Costello Jr.
Yeah, look, we're actually going to go back to the Pentagon right now. We obviously this is a live stream, and some things don't always go to plan. So yeah, we're now going to listen in to the Pentagon for at least another 10 or so minutes. 9:37 US East Coast time is the moment where where Flight 77 hit the west side of the Pentagon. That killed all 64 people on board. Of course, the other major events that are also coming up tonight: 9:59 US East Coast time, the South Tower collapsed. 10:03 US East Coast time, Flight 93 crashed in Pennsylvania, and 10:28 US East Coast time, the North Tower collapsed. Those are the major events we're following. We will bring you all those live back in New York and back in Pennsylvania, but right now we're going to listen in to the service at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Let us pray. Almighty God, we pause on this solemn anniversary with heavy hearts as we place on the grounds of the Pentagon, taking from us 184 of nearly 3,000 sons and daughters of our nation that perished on this day. We especially remember the surviving families and friends and ask your continued healing of the grief that they bear each day. We celebrate these great American heroes who have laid such a supreme sacrifice onto the altar of freedom. And Lord, we ask that you bring them comfort to all survivors as our nation remembers their patriotism. Oh God, we also remember and offer thanks to those who served, delivered aid, delivered assistance, and even saved others in this time of tragedy and need. Lord, 20 years later, our prayer is that we unite together as a nation and embrace one another with dignity and respect for all, that we seek peaceful resolutions, and we learn to choose love over fear each day. And Lord, with your help, oh God, help us find hope and forgiveness in ourselves and in this world which we live, that we can make a difference to everyone around us. Lord, through your help, through your guidance, through your loving grace, we pray this in thy holy name. Amen. I now invite you to stand and join me in a moment of silence.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Pleasure to introduce General Mark A. Milley, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Mr. Secretary, distinguished guests, thank you all for participating in this morning's ceremony. But most importantly, I want to thank the people we're here for today, the survivors of the murderous attack on this building and the families of the fallen. Thank you all for participating, and we are all deeply humbled to be standing here on this sacred ground. 20 years ago began as a typical morning for Pentagon employees. Those in uniform and our civilian colleagues settled into the rhythms and routines of a normal Tuesday morning with a near cloudless sky, temperatures in the low 60s, and it promised to be a beautiful day. The passengers and crew of American Airlines Flight 77 were a little over an hour into their flight from Dallas to LA. Fathers, mothers, husbands, wives, sons, daughters, brothers, and sisters. All that changed at 9:37 a.m. as the innocent were caught in the crossfire of terror. The ideology of hatred unfolded on this very ground. In seconds, scores of lives were lost. 184 men, women, and children were slaughtered in the violent impact and fury. 59 passengers and crew, 125 of our Pentagon colleagues, and the innocent ranged in age from 3 to 71 years old. Those who perished here were among the 2,977 killed on that day here in New York and in Pennsylvania. Not for what they did, but for what they believed and what they represented. Not for anything they did, but rather for who they were. The people we lost that day are not just names and numbers. We remember them today for not only who they were, but for what they could have become. They were irreplaceable to their families, instrumental in their jobs, woven into the fabric of their community, full of life and potential. Lives cut short, pain that can never be properly described in words, suffering that will never fully heal, and no words that I nor anyone else will ever say that can fill the gaping hole. But we, the living, we have a solemn duty to honor their memory, their legacy, to honor and remember them, not just today, but every day. The horrific acts of terrorism on that day were meant to disrupt our way of life and destroy the idea that is America. That idea is simple, yet incredibly powerful. The idea that terrorists hate and fear. The idea that all of us, men and women, black and white, Asian and Indian, no matter what the color of our skin, no matter if we are Catholic or Protestant, Muslim or Jew, or if you choose not to believe at all, the idea is that each and every one of us is created free and equal. The idea that we will rise or fall based on our merit. The idea of a free press, free speech, due process of law, the right to vote or peacefully assemble and protest for or against this cause or that. The idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All of that is what our fallen believed in and what they embodied. All of the values and principles embedded in our Constitution and made real in our daily lives were paid for with the blood of the fallen on this place at 9:37 on September 11th, 2001. Those ideas were and still are hated by our enemies, the fascists, the Nazis, the communists, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, the Taliban, authoritarians, dictators, and tyrants of all kinds. They hate those ideas. They hate those values. And on 9/11, they tried to destroy us. They tried to divide us, and they tried ultimately in vain to terrify us. But their murderous intent was never realized. Instead of sowing fear and division, we gathered in New York and Pennsylvania, right here at the Pentagon, and we came together as a nation with acts of heroism, unity, and perseverance, many conducted by you in the audience today. While we grieve for our fallen, we celebrate the life they led. Their legacy lives on in the idea that is America, and no terrorist anywhere on earth can ever destroy that idea. Since that dark day 20 years ago, the men and women of the United States military have fought tirelessly to defeat terrorists in Afghanistan and around the world. Both at home and abroad, their talent and their efforts and their courage, their personal valor has carried this fight day and night. We did not fear what was in front of us because we loved what was behind us. 800,000 of us in uniform served in Afghanistan over the last 20 years. Tens of thousands more have served elsewhere in the collective fight against terrorism. And thousands more stand watch today all around the world. 2,461 of us gave the last full measure of devotion, including 13 just 2 weeks ago, while 20,698 of us were wounded, and untold thousands more suffer with the invisible wounds of war as we close this terrible chapter in our nation's history. For 2 consecutive decades, our men and women in uniform, along with our brothers and sisters in the intelligence and law enforcement agencies, protected our nation from terrorist attack. For those of us in uniform, for our families who have suffered and sacrificed along our side, for those who have supported us, these have been incredibly emotional, exhausting, and trying years. We are all now, this very day, very conflicted with feelings of pain and anger, sorrow and sadness, combined with pride and resilience. But one thing I am certain of: for every soldier, sailor, airman, and Marine, for every CIA officer, for every FBI agent, for every cop and fireman, you did your duty. Your service mattered. Your sacrifice was not in vain. So let us resolve. Let us resolve here yet again today on this hallowed ground to never forget those who were murdered by terrorists. Never forget those who rushed to save their lives and gave theirs in exchange. Never forget the sons and the daughters, the brothers and sisters and the mothers and fathers who gave their tomorrows for our todays. Honor them. Honor them today and forever. Honor the cause they served. Honor their commitment to this experiment in liberty that we call the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure and deep honor to introduce Secretary of Defense of the United States of America, the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin.
Thank you. It is an honor to be here with you, and especially with the families and loved ones of those taken from us 20 years ago, and with the first responders who raced to help, and with our brothers and sisters in arms whose lives were changed forever on that day of fire. On behalf of the Department of Defense, let me renew our deepest condolences to the families and loved ones of all those lost on 9/11, including the 184 souls taken from us in the attack on the Pentagon, in the building, and on Flight 77. We know that you carry pain every day. We know that you bear your losses not just at times of ceremony, but also in ordinary moments of absence. In quiet minutes that can seem to stretch on for hours.
And the rockets
And welcome back. Thanks for staying with our live coverage tonight as we mark 20 years since the 9/11 terrorist attacks in the United States. Now, of course, it was not just in New York, it was in 3 different states, or if you count DC there. But again, we are going to, of course, take you to, I think our graphics just appeared there, but we're going to take you to the ceremony in Pennsylvania very shortly. Now, that is where Flight 93 crashed. It was heading to, we're actually on Pennsylvania now. It was heading to it was heading to Washington, reportedly going to the White House or the Capitol building. Now, it was crashed by its hijackers, reportedly because the passengers were resisting it. It was their efforts that stopped it. Now, all 44 people on board were killed. Of course, that includes the hijackers, but it's believed hundreds, maybe thousands of lives were saved by those actions. So that is at 3 past midnight Australian Eastern Standard Time. That's 3 past 10 in the morning for US East Coast. Another thing coming up in about 7 minutes. The moment the South Tower collapsed, the South Tower of the World Trade Center, that was 56 minutes, not even an hour after the impact of Flight 175. And of course, the North Tower soon collapsed at 10:28 local time. So obviously a lot coming up. We will continue to follow this, and we of course still invite you. Comment in the live chat. We are here all night. We are not going anywhere. So stay tuned for more coverage.
Robert Edward Evans.
Meredith Emily June Edward.
And we are now back live in New York City. Obviously, they have been reading out the names of the people who were killed, the near 3,000 people. Absolutely shocking. So that's going to continue. We'll go in and out of that coverage and showing you some footage of what happened on that day 20 years ago. It was described as a blue, crisp morning in New York City, and it ended in absolute horror. 3,000 dead. This is some of what was seen on September 11, 2001. We'll show you more footage tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, but here is just some of it. This is one of the towers there. I'm not sure whether it's the north or south completely on fire after that impact of one of the planes. I think I can see at the back that the other one was on fire by the time this footage was filmed. Of course, there isn't much footage of the North Tower just standalone on fire. We know that there was only 2 pieces of footage ever showing the North Tower being hit. A third that was just audio. This is when the North Tower collapsed, I believe. This was the second tower to collapse. The South Tower collapses in just 4 minutes, is the minute it collapsed at 9:59 a.m. local time. That was just 56 minutes, again, after the impact of Flight 175, so not even an hour. Less than half an hour later, the North Tower collapsed, as you're seeing in that footage there. So I think the main focus right now is really just looking at moving forward. And again, as I said before, the impact of Al-Qaeda and what's happening to them today. Again, you are seeing this horrific vision, and of course we do warn you it may be distressing and disturbing for some viewers. Showing people escaping in here footage, in that footage, you can just see it. It's like an apocalypse zone. These are some of the first responders. We know many people were killed, many firefighters, police, paramedics, just people on the ground. And the smoke, which undoubtedly has killed more people, the smoke and the dust has killed many more people. It's believed that may have been linked to cancer, which is horrific. And you can just see these firefighters. This is some iconic footage of one firefighter, and you can't hear him say, but he's saying, "I need some water." And they're saying, "We don't have any." It was just absolutely dire. And this is once both towers had gone, and you can see them struggling here. Now that again, we'll keep showing you some of this footage, and we'll show a lot more of that tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. for those of you in the West, 6 a.m. for those of you on America's East Coast. So stay tuned for that, and a lot more tributes and a lot more scenes from the memorial service. You can also see even the news fan there, because again, the media was a huge part. You would not see this footage without the media and all the local TV stations there. So they played a huge part in this. And of course, so did these incredible first responders. There's another one there just driving through the dust. Absolutely incredible. So that is some of what we have seen, some of what we did see on September 11, 2001. We're going to take you now back live to New York City. It is just getting up to 9:59 a.m. local time, the moment the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed 56 minutes after Flight 175 hit it. We will also be taking you to Pennsylvania. I think we're also going to take you to Pennsylvania shortly, I believe, or I think we're going to go there right now. There's supposed to be a minute of silence at 10:03. No? Okay, so we have not got the minute of silence in Pennsylvania. I am told that will be at 10:03 local time, so stand by for another 5 minutes. But yeah, striking the bells for the names there. Again, literally 30 seconds away, the minute the South Tower collapsed. That all happened in 56 minutes. And for so many, it feels just like a short amount of time. So let's go back to New York. Let's listen in live, and then we will take you back to Pennsylvania. We'll also cut into the Pentagon probably as well a little later. Let's listen in.
Thomas J. Fisher.
Lucy A. Fishman.
Ryan D. Fitzgerald.
Thomas James Fitzpatrick.
Richard P. Fitzsimmons.
Salvatore Fume Fredo.
Darlene E. Flagg.
Wilson F. Flagg.
Christina Donovan Flannery.
Eileen Fletcher.
And my father-in-law, Lieutenant John A. Creasy, FDNY. Your family loves you and misses you very much. And thank you for sending your son to me. He's a wonderful husband, the best husband a girl could ask for, and I know he learned that from you. We miss you and we love you very much.
Yeah, we're now taking you back to Pennsylvania at the memorial service for Flight 93. Now, Flight 93 was one of 4 planes hijacked that day, but the only one that did not reach its targeted destination, believed to be either the White House or the US Capitol. Now, what happened was it's understood, and obviously we don't have much information, but it is understood that the people on board found out about what's happening at the World Trade Center and the Pentagon because they had been in the air for around about an hour. It was much longer than anyone else. They found out, they resisted the 4 hijackers, they brought down the plane, killing everyone on board, I believe 44 people, including the hijackers, but saved potentially hundreds or thousands of lives in Washington, D.C. So that would have been 2 attacks in D.C., 2 attacks in New York, but of course that did not happen. 10:03 local time was the minute it happened. It looks like it's approaching that time now, so unless I'm told otherwise, I think we will listen into that, and then we will cut back to some of the other services in both New York as we get ready to mark for the anniversary. We'll cut back to New York rather when the North Tower minute of silence happens. But again, let's listen in now to Pennsylvania. Yeah. And of course, thanks for tuning into our live coverage right now. We are monitoring the memorial service in both Washington, D.C., in Pennsylvania, where you're looking at right now, and in New York City. And we will bring you in between those right now. Now, the next major moment is coming up at 10:28
On that day,
local time. That is
my vision
just
here
ahead
at this holy site
past midnight
was one
for those of you
of
on
the lone
the East Coast. That is the moment the North Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed. 1 hour, 42 minutes after Flight 11. The Marriott Hotel, which was at the base of the two towers, was also reportedly destroyed. Now, this was after the South Tower collapse, so this was the final tower, the final one. All other major incidences happened, with the exception of the western side of the Pentagon collapsing due to a fire. 5 stories of it at 10:58 a.m. local time, but that was after a crash. So stand by. We'll take you back to New York, of course, at 10:28 a.m. local time. So that's about 15 or so minutes. We're right now on Pennsylvania, the site of Flight 93. So I think we're going to listen into that now, unless I'm told otherwise. Let's listen into that now.
And then she asked Minnie to place a written message on the patches of that quilt. When I was given the pen, recollected the vision that I had seen on September the 11th, 2001, and I wrote, "A common field one day, a field of honor forever." Now these simple words caught the attention of one of the archivists, who collected many thoughts that were sent here to this beautiful memorial. These words became the preamble for the mission statement that has guided and processed for permanently memorializing the 40 passengers and crew of Flight 93 over the past 20 years. Now, please, hear these words once again. A common field one day, a field of honor forever. May all who visit this place remember the collective acts of courage and sacrifice of the passengers and crew. Revere this hallowed ground as the final rescue place of those heroes, and reflect on the power of individuals who chose to make a difference. Peace be with you.
Thank you, Chief Ruda. Your eloquent words have truly helped to define our understanding of this hallowed ground, sir. Thank you. Once again, our sincere appreciation to Mr. Hampman, all of our family readers, and finally bell ringers Kevin Husek and Christian Woolley. This nation relies upon the men and women of our military for our protection. We owe them a debt of gratitude which truly can never be repaid for their sacrifices they and their families have made in preserving this great nation. I would like to acknowledge the men and women currently serving in our nation's military and all of our veterans who have so bravely served this country. Assisting with today's observance are 40 sailors from USS Somerset. Named for Somerset County, where Flight 93 crashed, she is one of 3 ships that remembered the tragic events of September 11th, along with USS Arlington and USS New York. Thank you, sailors, for being with us this morning. It is a great honor to introduce Captain John Kurtz, Commanding Officer, USS Somerset. Captain Kurtz grew up in Pennsylvania and graduated from the Naval Academy in 1996. Before commanding the Somerset, he served as Naval Flight Officer and as the Executive Officer at USS Nimitz. Please join me in welcoming Captain John Kurtz. Virtus per adversa. Courage through adversity.
All right, you're watching this live ceremony in Pennsylvania. I think we're going to go take you back to the ceremony in New York again. 10:28 local time is when the North Tower fell. We will, of course, acknowledge that when it happens in around 10 or so minutes. Let's listen in rather to New York City.
Harry Goody.
Kiran Kumar Reddy Gopur.
Catherine C. Gorea.
Lisa Fenn Goldenstein.
Corrine Gordon.
Sebastian Gorky.
Kieran Joseph Gorman.
Thomas Edward Gorman.
Michael Edward Gould.
O. Kristen Osterholm White Gould.
Douglas Allen Gowell.
Yuji Goya.
John Richard Grabowski.
Christopher Michael Grady.
Edwin J. Graff III.
David Martin Graffman.
Gilbert Franco Granados.
Lauren Catusi Grancolas and her unborn child.
Elvira Granito.
Winston Arthur Grant.
Christopher S. Gray.
Ian J. Gray.
James Michael Gray.
Tara McLeod Gray.
John M. Grazioso.
Timothy George Grazioso.
Derek Arthur Green.
Wade B. Green.
Wanda Anita Green.
Elaine Myra Greenberg.
Donald Freeman Green.
Gail R. Green.
James Arthur Greenleaf Jr.
And my cousin, Melissa Candida Doy. Melissa, you were so much more than 9/11. We love you. We miss you. I pray for everyone who's here. I send a blessing to each and every one of us. And I just ask that we love and be kind to one another. God protect our country.
And my uncle, Paul Frederick Beattini. Uncle Paul, we love and miss you every day. Your memory and legacy is carried on by your amazing daughters, your amazing wife, your siblings, the entire family. We love and miss you. I can't believe it's been 20 years, and it's such an honor to be here with everybody, remembering 20 years later. God bless.
Eileen Marcia Greenstein.
Elizabeth Martin Gregg.
Denise Marie Gregory.
Donald H. Gregory.
Florence Moran Gregory.
Pedro Grahan.
John Michael Griffin.
Tawana Sherry Griffin.
Joan Donna Griffith.
Warren Grifka.
Ramon B. Grijalvo.
Joseph Grillo. Joseph F. Grillo.
David Joseph Grimner.
Francis Edward Grogan.
Linda Gronland.
Kenneth George Grizalis.
Joseph Grzelick.
Matthew James Grzymowski.
Robert Joseph Shar.
Liming Gu.
Richard J. Guadagno.
Firefighter Jose A. Guadalupe.
Cindy Yan Zhu Guan.
Lieutenant Jeffrey E. Guja.
Joseph P. Gullickson.
Babita Gujamati Guman.
Douglas Brian Gurian.
Janet Ruth Gustafson.
Philip T. Guza.
Barbara Guzardo.
Peter Mark Gulivari.
Gary Robert Haig.
Andrea Lynn Haberman.
Barbara Mary Habib.
Philip Hensler.
Nizam A. Hafiz.
Karen Elizabeth Haggerty.
Stephen Michael Haggis.
Mary Lou Haid.
Lieutenant David Halderman.
And my uncle Don Merkovich. We love you and miss you, and we're going to bring that dime and bring it up again next year.
And my cousin, firefighter Dennis Patrick Oberg, Ladder 105. Cousin Dennis, we miss you with every passing day. Even the little ones have come to know and love you. Claire, Madeline, Colleen, Georgie, Rocco, and Arabella. We know your spirit is with us. So until we meet again, please keep watching over us.
Miley Rachel Hale.
Diane Hale McKenzie.
Richard B. Hall.
Stanley R. Hall.
Boswald George Hall.
Robert J. Halligan.
Vincent Gerard Halloran.
Carolyn B. Howman.
James Douglas Halvorson.
Mohammed Salam Hamdani.
Felicia Hamilton.
Robert W. Hamilton.
Carl Max Hammond, Jr.
Frederick K. Hahn.
Christopher James Hanley.
Sean S. Hanley.
Valerie Joan Hanna.
Thomas Paul Hannafin.
Kevin James Hannaford, Sr.
Michael Lawrence Hannon.
Dana Ray Hannon.
Christine Lee Hansen.
Peter Burton Hansen.
Sue Kim Hansen.
Basilios G. Haramis.
James A. Harlan.
Gerald Francis Hardacre.
Jeffrey Pike Hardy.
T.J. Hargrave.
Daniel Edward Harlan.
Francis Harros.
Harvey L. Harrell.
Stephen G. Harrell.
Melissa Harrington Hughes.
Aisha Ann Harris.
Stuart D. Harris.
John Patrick Hart.
Eric Hartono.
John Clinton Hartz.
Emmerich Harvey.
And my brother-in-law, who I love like a big brother, Peter Teague Milano. Your memory and spirit live on through Patty, Peter, Jessica, your 5 beautiful granddaughters, your entire family and friends. May you rest in peace till we meet again. We all love and miss you, Pete. And may God bless our country, our military, and all first responders.
And to our sister, Celeste Torres Victoria, Celeste was a model. She was our light with a vivacious and dynamic personality. When she walked into the room, it lit up. She was intelligent, beautiful, elegant, a zest for life. Celeste attended NYU and graduated cum laude in journalism. As a woman of the media, she used that platform to advocate for women's rights and justice. Celeste left behind her beautiful daughter, Jasmine, who graduated from Duke University on a full academic scholarship. We will always miss and cherish the memories of our sister, Celeste Torres Victoria.
Peter Paul Hashem, Thomas Theodore Haskell Jr., Timothy Sean Haskell, Joseph John Hassan III, Leonard W. Hatton Jr., Terrence S. Hatton.
And it's just approaching 10:28 a.m. local time. That is about half past midnight for Australia's East Coast. That is the moment the North Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed. 1 hour, 42 minutes after the impact of Flight 11.
James Edward Hayden, Robert J. Philip T. Hayes, W. Ward Hine, Scott Jordan Hazelhorn, Michael K. Healy, Roberta B. Hever, Charles Francis Xavier Curran, John F. Heffernan, Michelle M. Hindenburger, Sheila M. Hine, H. Joseph Heller Jr., Joanne L. Halterbridle, Ronald John Hemingway, Mark F. Hemscott, Ronnie Lee Henderson, Brian Hennessy, Edward R. Hennessy Jr., Michelle Marie Henrique, Joseph Patrick Henry, William L. Henry Jr., Catherine Henry Robinson, John Christopher Henwood, Robert Allen Hepburn, Mary Herencia, Lindsay C. Perkins III, Harvey Robert Hermer, Humberto Hernandez, Raul H. Hernandez.
I never saw myself before you looked at me, before you kissed my face, before you smiled at me, and I knew that day I would never be alone. And it's the only way life never got me low. Tears never broke me down. Inside I always know I'd be by your side, so I'd never be alone. But all that is different right now, and everything's soft with the ground. You'll never be alone.
All right, so that was the ceremony live in New York, marking the moment the North Tower collapsed, basically the final major moment of what happened 20 years ago to the day. And what happened 20 years ago is what you are seeing right now. The two towers still standing in that footage, the two towers that were a symbol of the United States, a symbol that was destroyed within just 3 hours, along with obviously huge impact on the Pentagon and thankfully no disaster at the Capitol building or the White House, thanks to the heroic effort of those passengers on Flight 93 over Pennsylvania. So, a horrific day and a day to remember now. We will continue our coverage, not tomorrow night, but tonight at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time, and that is also 6 a.m. for those of you on America's East Coast on our YouTube channel. We've got live reports, more memorial services, a look back at what happened, and also we'll have a live interview with our political commentator, Matthew Hayne. So what we are going to do, we're going to take a look back, if I'm not mistaken yet, but still a lot of coverage coming tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Again, you were just seeing this horrific footage, the dust, people trying to escape the impact. You see the emergency services, a horrific scene there, and thankfully something that has not ever been repeated on such a scale, which is obviously, something we're all very glad. But you can see there's the iconic footage. I've said it before and I'll say it again. He's saying, I need water. It's a horrible scene to see, but that is where we'll leave you this morning, September 12, 2021. In the US, of course, it is still September 11. Memorial services will be held across the country throughout the day. President Joe Biden is right now traveling to visit all crash sites, and we will bring you updated. You can also follow our US correspondent at Jay Gosnell News for more on that. You can also head to the rest of our social media pages. Just search 6 News AU to find us for continuing coverage overnight. And tune in tonight at 8 p.m. Australian Standard Time for more reaction and reporting on the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Thanks to your company. Good night.
I thought it was over.